And I think that does mean I'm live. Excellent. So, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. It's lovely to see lots of people already in the room, and welcome. And my name is Hugh Morris. I will introduce myself properly when we get to 5:30, but I know there's lots of people already saying hello to each other in the chat. Interesting to see somebody who's talking about whether in Christchurch, where I used to be in Dorset, is one of my previous roles. It does look like somebody can hear me because the self-isolation choir has actually said hello, so it's we know that the system's working. It's reassuring to get that kind of feedback. I'm hoping that you can hear me all right from what it's from my voice doing this. If it doesn't work for you, then drop a note in the chat. Hello Karen, and hello Muriel, and other people that are joining. Of course, I don't know where any of you people are. I'd be very pleased to get a sense of where you're joining us from. Lots of great comments coming in. Lovely to see all of these people. Just so you know, as you can see, I'm in my garden office here, which we built about 5 years ago, and boy, over the last year am I glad we've had it, because what was originally set up as a practice, a room that we could put out my practice organ into. My wife was extremely pleased to see it out of the house because of the space it takes up. Has now been a brilliant place for me to work from for the last year, and so I live in a little village just outside Derby, and so I'm beaming to you direct from there. Looks like there's somebody from Norway. That's definitely not near Derby. So people from all over the place hearing you loud and clear. Thanks from Pat in Southampton, Aberdeen, Finland, and a sort of sunny-ish London. Yes, I'm hoping the rain holds off, because this room here's got a metal roof, and an hour ago I was in a meeting where there was a sudden downpour, and the rain was so heavy that I couldn't really hear what anybody was saying, but I think we should be okay. I'm just keeping a bit of an eye on the time, so we make a prompt start. I'm just going to double check that here, if I play some music on the piano, it's sounding like it's probably coming through okay. I should just give this a potential twiddle there, just to, oh, and I can twiddle it, yeah. There we are. Of course, we'll be doing the Foray Cantique de Jean Racine, such a beautiful piece of music. If you haven't yet had the chance to perform it anywhere, in that very warm key of D flat major, which of course then makes pianists go, "Oh, I'm not sure about that." So, so I think yes, it sounds like it's people can hear me okay. Do say if there's a problem with the sound. So the piano seems to be working okay, and I'm just going to try a few seconds of talking of the Foray Cantique. Here is just a little bit on the recording we'll be able to use in a minute. That's it. We're really lucky that the music for this course has been, the backing material has been recorded by St Martin's Voices from the Church of, leaving my sustain pedal, St Martin in the Fields in London. And if you don't, you know, that's the church on, I think it's the southeast corner of Trafalgar Square. Absolutely beautiful building, and has brilliant music going on within it. And they've been a very, very good partners to us throughout the last year, actually, because they've been recording it's beamed out and they're made available to all Church of England churches across the country, a selection of hymns every week that can be used by churches for their streaming, to because of course congregations haven't been able to sing, and so people have been able to play those instead, and every week they're able to do it. So it looks like a lot of you are also signing up for things for the summer school. Someone's joining for 8, so it might still be summer, but it's certainly not morning in Tokyo. It's 8:30 p.m. there, so we've certainly got someone joining from a little way away. That's great. Busy day, yes. I know there's more than one self-isolation choir thing today, and so thanks for your time, those who are doing it together. So if you've got any specific questions as we go on this, just before we start the rehearsals, I will, as we keep going, try my best to keep my eye on the chat feed here so that I can address the questions as they come in. 6 Zoom rehearsals for me today. Wow, 1 live rehearsal. That is a definitely Zoom full day. I wonder if that's a Zoom rehearsals record. If you've got anything that can top Zoom, then can top 6 in your Zoom rehearsals, then do that. So, somebody says the Contique is one of my absolute favourite tunes ever, and it's your birthday. Well, a very happy birthday to Helena. Maybe I don't know if it's Helena or Helena Jefferson. So, happy birthday to you. In the beautiful key of G major. Now it's 12:30, so I think that's time to make a prompt start. And it's a very, very great pleasure for me to be able to spend some time with you today in the first of these rehearsals for the Self-Isolation Choir's Sing for Music Sunday project. And so just let me introduce myself before we get any further. And so my name's Hugh Morris. I am the director of the Royal School of Church Music. Now, of course, most of the time I'm effectively the CEO of the organisation, and so don't spend much of my time now doing music making. When it's possible around the country, I do go and visit a lot of groups doing things and lead sessions and so forth. But my background is twofold, really, that in terms of this context. So I am I'm a musician. So I was previously, I've worked in that's a noise from Microsoft. I don't know how I stopped that one, I'm sorry. So I worked in a number of contexts. My previous job was to be director of music at Derby Cathedral, which is why we ended up living here in Derbyshire, and that's only 6 or 7 miles that way. And so I've worked as a church musician, as an organist and a choir trainer in lots of different places. I've previously worked in, going backwards a bit, I worked in, the previous role before that was at Christchurch Priory down in Dorset. As I say, I saw from that someone, that they were from that way, and you're welcome for me playing Happy Birthday to you. So I didn't inflict the singing on it to you. I'm sure others can be singing that to you as we go on. I've also worked in all sorts of places across the country, because before that I spent 8 years up in Northumberland in Hexham as the assistant organist at Hexham Abbey there, and so we've lived in lots of different places. But my other background is also as a teacher. So I've worked as a qualified trained teacher in schools for some 15 years alongside all of that, and I've taught. I also taught harmony at Newcastle University to undergraduates for 7 years when we were up in the northeast. So I've got experience of all sorts of things. But I'm not only a church musician, I've also done, I spent quite a lot of time working with choirs of all sorts of different kinds. I love working with choirs and singers. I've worked with lots of different choral societies and chamber choirs, and yes, I might be a cathedral organist, but I do like all sorts of different repertoire, and I'm absolutely open to doing all sorts of different things, be that sort of playing in a show band or doing a concert of secular music, all sorts of different things I've done and love doing that. So what we'll do, I think maybe today, is just have a look at these two pieces, and then actually let me introduce the two pieces and then I'll tell you a bit about the RSCM and Music Sunday so you know what it is that we're going to do. So one of them may be familiar to you, and if you don't know the Foray Contique de Jean Racine yet, then you're going to love it, because it is just a beautiful piece of music. It's one of those pieces that's not like quite anything else, I don't think, and actually it's gloriously singable. It's a piece where the Foray had a great gift for writing tunes, and here is a tune and a half. Whichever part you're going to sing, doesn't matter if it's the soprano, the altos, the tenors or the basses, everyone has something really good to do. And I think for singers, actually in this country, one of the things that's a little bit tricky is, there's lots of people still singing Happy Birthday to Helena, that's great. So what a way to meet so many friends to sing Happy Birthday, excellent. So one of the things about that for choirs in this country, assuming of course that I'm speaking to a UK group at the moment, although I know that there are people joining from further afield, we actually don't sing very much music in French. So this piece, I think for us the challenge is less about the music and more about the how do we make sure that we get the pronunciation right, which is always not the same as spoken French. There are some other conventions that you have to bring into play. So that's the first piece that we're going to do. And then the other one is this brand new piece that hasn't, apart from the recording, the only performance that's happened ever is the one that was prepared for you to learn the music from, is that this new piece called God of Creation by Chris Totney. Now, he's a great guy who, well, for the moment still, he lives down in Devizes, though he's about to move to Cambridgeshire. And so this piece came about as a competition for Music Sunday. So, one thing leads to another. Let me wind it back and say, so the RSCM, the Royal School of Church Music, is an organisation, well, it's a charity. We are a self-supporting charity. We don't receive plug-in funding from anywhere, where we support church music and church musicians in all sorts of contexts. And we've been around since 1927. We were founded by Sir Sidney Nicholson, who gave up his job as being organist of Westminster Abbey because he could see that there was a real need for effective training and development in music in parishes. And actually that work continues and keeps changing over time, of course, but not least because of the pandemic, seems to be as powerful a need as there was 90 however many years ago it was. And of course we're looking forward to our centenary in 2027. Now, so one of the things that we do all sorts of training events and courses, and some of them are on, of course, now online, but lots are in person. And we've got 50 area teams around the UK that enable local events to happen. We do some centrally planned day and residential courses and choirs and things too. We're also, I'll tell you about that during the week maybe, we've got some brilliant things for singers called Voice for Life training programme, which even if you're not part of a church choir, you can use to further your own musical skills and understanding. And we've got some great new innovations coming on that. Music Sunday is something that we do once a year, and this year it's Sunday the 6th of June, to shine the spotlight. It's got three main things. First of all, to say that music in the context of worship in church services is a really important way of growing and developing that, and it's a really often underappreciated thing. Secondly, is to say that there's lots of people who give up their time to make the music happen, and they're very, very committed to it. And so we should be giving thanks for that too. And then thirdly, and this is where it's so great to have all of you part of this, that we've got that we celebrate the way that music can draw communities together, and it can help link church with wider communities, and we can bring people together in enjoying the joy of music. So this year, knowing that still our encouragements to have concerts in churches and afternoon teas in churches and things are all going to be a bit tricky still because of the timing, this year we've been focusing on doing things in a slightly different way. We set up this competition. Such a hard phrase to say. Competition. So here is this piece by Chris, which was the winning entry. We asked, just after Christmas, we released the competition and thought that it was, if nothing else, it was a really positive way of getting people on board to do something in their lockdown time. A focused thing that you could do is set this text. And 200 people entered, which is brilliant. They were all anonymous, and then that meant that we had to do, of course, quite an arduous process of judging all of these different entries, all anonymous, and Chris was the unanimous winner. So I think what we should do now is do it with the singing. So we've got a full choir rehearsal today to get the hang of what this music looks and feels like. And then we've got different sectionals to look at the detail of it much more through the week. We'll pull it all back together on Saturday, and then you're off into the thing about going and doing your recording, so that then we can stitch it all together. The thing that's lovely about this is that the end product, the recording of this God of Creation piece, will be stitched into the service for Music Sunday, which is being streamed from Lichfield Cathedral. Actually, not very far down the road from me here, it's only about half an hour. I often catch the train to London from Lichfield Station, and it's great to be able to have to make it sort of. It's not just it's great that we'll have our own concert, brilliant, but we'll also be stitched into something bigger and wider reaching. So then your work will go to see others. Hildegarda says, nice to hear about the RSCM. We don't have such things over here. Well, I don't know where you are, but you can join the RSCM from wherever you are in the world, actually. So that's great. And in fact, we have got 5 international franchise partners in the USA, Canada, South Africa, Australia, and New Zealand. But we've got individual members and individual member churches from across the whole world. So let's do a bit of a warm-up and then we'll look at the two pieces. So I'm going to say, if you feel comfortable and able to do so, even though I'm sat down, I'm going to encourage you to stand and make sure that you're standing in a place where your feet are. I'm not going to stand up because I'll then immediately disappear out of the camera shot. I'm sorry, that's... I forgot to silence my mobile phone. It's a lady... actually, let's talk about Music Sunday, because that's Pam Rhodes, who's the lady who has often presented BBC Songs of Praise. If you watch that programme, she runs her own programme online at the moment and is going to feature this whole story about the self-isolation choir and about Music Sunday. And so I'm sure that that's what she was ringing up about, because she's going to run the programme on this Sunday. Anyway, what I was about to say is that with you standing there, let's do some things about thinking about your posture. So your feet are firmly planted on the ground, and if you're standing on carpet, just make sure you can really feel that carpet. If it's a harder floor surface, make sure you can feel it, and that your knees are just enough flexing that you can just feel that yourself, that you're sort of balanced but not stiff. Because if you're stiff somewhere, you can't breathe very well. So let's think about that breathing first of all, and let's do an exercise that I quite enjoy doing, where it makes you think about the flow of air. Because if there's no air going on, or going out, I should say, there's no voice. So the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is, in a minute, so take a nice deep breath that lets the air flow in. But when you take the breath, make sure your shoulders don't go up high, because you discover that it's a long. It feels very strange because you have muscles that aren't supposed to do something. Keep those nice things down. I'm learning here how to do this multitasking with the chat. So someone's saying Lichfield Cathedral is very beautiful. Indeed it is. If you haven't been, do at the very least have a look online for a virtual tour, because it's a very, 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 very beautiful building. Quite hard to go and sing at, by the way, because the organ there is nearly a semitone sharp than the normal concert pitch, which means everything feels quite arrestingly bright. So our warm-up breathing exercise. So you breathe in, keep your shoulders down. Feel it going deep inside your body, and then what I want you to do is get the air coming out under pressure, so that there's some sense of muscle support for the air. So it's like me puncturing you with a pin, and so the air you're going to breathe in, we'll hold it, and then I'll puncture you, and then want the air to come out for 10, psst, 2, 3, like this, so under pressure, psst, like a really bad bicycle puncture tyre. So if I can invite you now to just join with me in breathing in, hold it, here's the pin then for 10, ready, go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Stop. Great. Just relax. It should feel energizing and quite vigorous. Try it one more time. We'll try it for a little bit longer this time. We're going to try it for 16 counts. So pace yourself. One of the things about singing is you don't want to get rid of the air too quickly, because you've got nothing left for the end of the phrase. So we'll try it. So breathe in. 2, 3, 4. Hold it. Here's the pin. Go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 18, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Psst. And the thing about it is, when you relax at the end of it, you feel the lovely flow of air going back in. And it's a really good thing to do. Now, let's just think about, to get the text clear in both these pieces, it's going to need good diction. So just for the moment, if you could insert your favourite flavour of toffee or even chewing gum. Never chew gum while you're singing, of course. Very, 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 very bad idea, because you can get stuck. But for the moment, if you can just take on a chewing gum and give it a bit of a chew, just to get the muscles going at the front and the back of your mouth. No one can see you, don't worry. It's only me that you look silly on the camera doing this. That's it. And now just to get your tongue going, give it 3 rolls in one direction. Here we go. Try the other direction. Okay, let's think about getting the actual voice going. Ben's in as well now. I know he's taking a rehearsal previously. Great. So there's messages saying hi to Ben. That's and Ben, I have to say, was so helpful to me setting all of this equipment up yesterday. So let's just think about using your voice to connect up different parts of it. So just gently, you can do what's called slurring. So don't reach. So just a minute. So just do it in free time. So imagine that I've got a pencil here. So follow the path of the roller coaster, just exploring your vocal range. So take the breath in. Here we go. Okay. And now let's turn it into actual singing. And if you, I know there's a stereotype, isn't there, in America about Americans not being keen to get out of their cars, and so this one is too far to my car. So it's just an arpeggiated exercise. Too far, and if you use it at the top of it, energize that too far. It gets the top note not being at too far as a sort of a source of tension, but just too far floats over the top. And let's say I was reading about that actually in. I don't know if any of you read that it's very light reading, but it's sort of nice little chapters of Bill Bryson's writing. I think it's called Notes from a Big Country or something. They're little sort of reflections, and there's a very good one about Americans driving, sort of to their next door neighbours so that they don't have to walk and things. So these stereotypes are always ridiculous, of course, but it's quite fun to read the story. Too far, let's sing it together then. Ready, go. Too far to my car. We'll go up to the next one. Ready, good. Too far to my car. And again. Too far to my car. Now, that's already getting quite high for altos and basses. Too far. So just relax, and if it gets too high for you, we'll do one more for the sopranos and tenors, or a couple more actually. Then just drop out when it feels a good thing for you. I think we were in E where we say, here, one more. Ready, go. Too far to my car. Ready, go. Too far to my car. And two more for the sopranos. Too far to my car. And the nice one up the G. Too far to. So those, if you supply the energy from down low, too far to my car. It's not such an energy. So just sopranos have one more go at that. I reckon that I'm sure that sounded really good, but I wonder if you've got a better one yet. Too far and ready go. Too far to my car. Great. Yes, somebody's saying it's a real pity that you have to open your mouth when you're singing to get the air to come out quicker. And we can look about that as we do it, because there are some techniques you can do that to keep the phrases coming out right. Let's just do one thing, just a little tongue twister as the last sort of warm exercise before we actually listen to the real pieces. So this one is the lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue. You may have sung it already, and just sing it to a scale. We'll just make it nice and easy in C major. The lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue, the lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue, the lips, the teeth. You get the idea as we go up. So we'll go nice and steady soon. By the way, it's a bit mean, the person who said currently eating lunch, because I haven't had mine yet. So I hope you enjoy. Oh, it's Ben! So eating his lunch. It's Ben eating the lunch. Goodness. I shall have mine as soon as the practice finishes, of course. But and he likes singing How Far to the Bar. Yes, well, don't mention that either. We'll have to save that for later. So the lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue. 1, 2, 3. The lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue. The lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue. The lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue. The lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue. The lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue. The lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue. The lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue. The lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue. I told you we needed to get the diction going. How did you get on? Hopefully you enjoyed doing it, but we're going to try a bit higher and a bit quicker. After 4 then. 1, 2, 3, 4. The lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue. The lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue. The lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue. The lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue. Lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue. The lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue. The lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue. The lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue. Okay, so if you're still standing up, then we're going to try it again. Fully energized, a bit faster, maybe a bit stronger. 1, 2, 3. The lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue. The lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue. The lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue. The lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue. The lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue. The lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue. The lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue. The lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue. Is that the fastest you can do? We're going to try one more, just faster, just for the heck of it. Last one, I promise. And 1, 2, 3. The lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue. The lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue. The lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue. The lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue. The lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue. The lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue. The lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue. The lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue. I'm sorry, doing it actually. It's quite hard to breathe when I'm trying to think about all these things, and I'm not standing up. Let's have a look, and if you want to have a sit down for a bit, then do. Let's have a look at the Foray one first, the one that probably is familiar to at least some of you, and it'd be interesting to know if you've ever sung it somewhere where that has been. If you want to drop that into the chat, that would be very welcome. So it's about a 5-minute piece, and so let's just think about what it is before we have listened to it through. So it's written as it was a composition. If you've got a physical copy of this edition, and by the way, somebody's pointed out there's one printed error in this. This has been printed by the RSCM since 1995, and somebody's pointed out a mistake, so we'll have to get that changed. So he wrote it as a composition. In fact, that draws unintentionally the two pieces together very nicely. This was a competition winner, and so was God of All Creation. So I hadn't thought about that. That's great. It won first prize, even though he was supposed to write it for orchestral accompaniment, and he submitted his with organ accompaniment, though there is an orchestral version for this. I can very much remember the first time I heard this piece, the Cantique de Jean Racine, in a concert, actually in my old school hall, where a choral society was singing it with an orchestra. And so the text is essentially a prayer saying, so hear us. It's a prayer to God saying, Saviour, hear and turn on us your eyes. Look with favour on your congregation assembled here for worship and praise. Receive the song we offer you, our true salvation, and send us forth endowed with gifts of grace. It's very beatific, saying, give us grace, and look on and look over us and look after us. So the mood of that comes across all the way through this piece, I think, and it's not a piece that has violent contrast to it, though it does have a couple of beautiful crescendos to enjoy. Those shapes of the verses, and it's set into very nice clear sections. It's not often actually that the basses get to go first in a piece and set the tone of things, and then the tenors build on it, and then the altos and the sopranos, of course, they don't get to come until bar 21, but then they become like, of course, the icing on the cake. Who would have it any other way? So let's maybe listen to the first section of this piece. While we've been talking, or while I've been talking, my other computer here has just gone to sleep, so I'm just going to awaken it. There we are. So I can. There we are. I've got the music going again. So now, today, for the moment, I'm going to play the full introduction so that you can just enjoy hearing it. This is a recording, as I said, from the Church of St Martin in the Fields in London, and the members of their St Martin's Voices. They run some great education programs there for young singers, sort of choral scholars, and they've been so good at working with us on it. A beautiful organ in the church as well, and a lovely acoustic. So you'll hear there's a glorious sort of bloom to the sound, and then the basses will come in. Now, as you listen to it, just have a think about them. We'll look about the pronunciation in the detailed rehearsals of the next few days. Just be thinking about the endings of the words. So if you say, for instance, the word if you had French lessons when you were at school, and the French teacher went silence, be quiet. Then when you sing it as silence, you add the silence. You actually emphasise the final sound. And there's lots of those words, like the top of the second page, which is page 4, espérance, not just espérance. And the other thing that, if you were a choir if you're normally part of a choir that sings Latin repertoire, then it becomes, you see the word, the syllable te, and you go te, as in laudamus te or something, and it's te en français. So we've got to get into this French sound world with some vowels and things. We'll look at it. Here's the first section. So if you've got your score to hand, we're going to go from the beginning. I'll stop at the end of the first bit. Here we go. So it's quite leisurely, you know. It sort of just rolls along very nicely. Okay, so here we go. This is the sort of bottom line. Basses start now then. The altos come in just quite gently here. Sopranos. Breath here for this big crescendo. Doesn't that sound lovely? Isn't it just the most beautiful piece? And it's so good. I'm sorry, I did warn you that the rain might start again. If you can hear it on the microphone, I am sorry. Oh, you can as well. It's distinctly wet out there. Glad to be in the dry. Let's look at one or two things. Just look at the text. That very bit we just read. Jette sur nous les yeux. So there's the two vowel sounds we've got to look at here. First of all, the first one is easy. Nous. The word nous is just an oo full of round vowel shape. Ooh. So just say, let's just say it together now. Ready? Say nous. Nous. Before that is sur. U. It's a much more nasal. U. Up here. Sur nous les yeux. Just try slowly, separated those sounds. Sur is not sur, it's sur. Ready? Sur nous les yeux. One more time. Great. Sur nous les yeux. And then, so French is a language of elision. Les yeux. So it's like a Z in the middle. So just try it. Let's try it together. Well done. Les yeux. Great. So, what I'm sure you're wanting to sing actually. Love Foray, my French is rusty. Yeah, do you know, my elder daughter's just been, well, not quite taking her GCSE exams, of course, because that's not what's happening this year, but they've done some things at school that sort of look and felt pretty much like exams, I think. And I was thinking that, oh great, well when she did these, learnt the language again, I would refresh my French and I'd be able to work with her, and of course that never quite happened because I never quite seemed to have the time, and so now her French is much better than mine. I can tell you outside, by the way, I'm so sorry for the background noise. The weather looks like one of those comic scenes from a BBC film where they've kind of got a hose pipe out and squirting it around to give the illusion of it being wet. It's ridiculously wet outside, so I'm sorry for the noise. So why don't we just have a go at singing that section ourselves, so you just had a chance to do it, say, with a piano. So this is from the beginning. And again, don't worry about the pronunciation for now, or the notes and these, just sing something. So from the basses, we're from your lead at the bottom of page 3. So 1, 2, 3. Come off there to breathe. Breath there. This one need to go through. Altos. I'm not going to sing the soprano one. Turn the pedal, keep going. Great, I hope you enjoyed the chance to sing that. Now, I don't know if you, by the way, if you're working on, I assume you're sort of working off digital copies here. There's a crescendo through that bit, so that the loud bit that we've just passed arrives as a result of the crescendo. So, that's great. Why don't we listen to the next bit so that you know? So what happens then is that there's another little interlude, and it makes me think of all the times I've played this as an accompaniment on the organ. The tune sort of comes out as a sort of in the middle of the texture, and then the choir comes on again. Répands sur nous le feu de ta grâce puissante. And then it gets to a big crescendo. So let's have a look at the next bit. And tell you what, there are some bits in this piece that you could kind of write the rehearsal for, because every single choir is all the same. Particularly if you're a soprano, if you can just look at, for me, at the end of page 9, and there are 3 notes there, qui la con, and it's not qui, of course. If you're in Latin, that's qui. Ben, bye. It's lovely to see you. He said he's got to go. He's had his lunch. He's got another practice, I think. So it's lovely to see you in an hour, Ben. Go on, yes. So people are going to have a lunch break and then do it. So there's 3 notes there. Qui la con. And that's different from the next one, which is on the next page, on page 10. Qui la con. So beware of that, because that could go wrong, and then that won't work together. So we're going to go back, and we'll pick up where it got to, which is page 7. It's bar 31. Here's the organ interlude. Such lovely tone. Of course, if you did an orchestral version, this would be strings doing all of this stuff. But actually, it's a nice rich tone on the organ too, isn't it? Nice to sing against, actually. So let's have a go. So you just either listen off the sort of singing through here. Run this through. Basses start again and then turn the same order as before, and then the altos key. Bass is stronger. Key, tenors, alto, sopranos. And then at that point we'll stop. Because at that point the music goes back to the beginning. That's like the sort of 3rd section starting there. Now I'm just going to write down the time, actually, because I'm sure we're going to need to do that, where I forgot to do that yesterday when I was preparing this. If you just wind back for the moment, and I was talking about that vowel sound, back to page 7, just have a listen to the, again, it's the same, sur, nous, les yeux. And here it's sur, nous, le feu. Have a listen to the 2 different words. I'm going to see if I can find the right moment here. Here we go. Listen. Sur nous. So just listen one more time. Here's the sur. So it's important to distinguish between those 2 different vowel sounds. Now, through that, there are 2 big crescendos, and we can really enjoy reaching those climaxes. So what happens then is it subsides. If we now pick up where we were in the story at page 10. Oh, cri soit favorable. So it goes back to the same tune. So we've got new words, old music, and then the tenors come in again in the same way. He builds it up with the same material. Makes me think, by the way, the French. There was one choir I was when I was playing for them. The choir master got sufficiently fed up with the choir's pronunciation that he produced his own edition with phonetic pronunciation of the French. So we'll make sure we cover that, so we don't need to do that. So, and then the sopranos just going to come above the top of it all on page 12, and then the music just begins to change a bit, because as you get onto page 13, there's like an extra bit put on. And that's where there's one mistake in the alto part, by the way. It's altos. If page 13, bar 76, you've got de te. So it's the bottom of the page, bar 76. It should be de te. The first note for te should be an E flat, not a D flat. But we'll cover that when we look at the notes in detail. Altos is Friday, isn't it? So we'll do that then. So, and then it kind of just subsides away to a very beautiful kind of ending bit. Let's just listen through to how this last section works. So, and it's not Christ or Christ, it's Christ. C'est français, oui. Here we go. Sorry, I'm going to get to where we were before. So this, I'm picking this up at the bottom of page 10. I do hope you're managing to follow along okay. I must try not to speak too fast, because otherwise it makes it's easy for me, because I can keep up with, I know what I'm thinking, but I know of course you've got to find the right places. So I'm sorry if I'm speaking too fast to make it difficult to follow. So bottom of page 10. Oh, Christ soit favorable. This is such a beautiful piece. It's just so gorgeous. Let's try. There we go. Please. I'll tell you what, actually, just before we carry on, basses, it's not every day in life that the basses get to think of themselves as people who sing tunes. Particularly if you imagine singing, the bass line for like a Christmas carol or a hymn or something where, immortal, invisible, God only wise. I'm singing the bass line and you can hear this. And it Actually, you've got to be thinking, not that you're adding to the bottom, you're adding a layer of beautiful sound into the tune. So you've got to sing it really melodically. So, and now that goes back to that thing I was doing, the psss. So, you don't have the same page numbers, bar numbers. I am so sorry, Susan. Yes, absolutely. Bar numbers from now on, it will be, everybody. So, why doesn't, just for the purposes of this exercise, everybody pretend? Somebody said that they're annoyed not to be the basses. Because they don't get to sing this tune to start. Why don't everybody just become a bass for the next 30 seconds? Oh, Christ soit favorable, ce peuple fidèle. And we're all just going to sing this, and we're going to make it in one breath. And the trick is, particularly when it's softer, oh, keep the sound. If you get oh, Christ, then you've got rid of so much of the air, nothing to be done. You've got to plan. So first of all, actually, I'll play it. You do the psst thing again. So you're going to take the breath and you're not going to sing, just go psst for the length of time of the phrase while I play and sing it all to you. So you ready? Here's the breath. 1, 2, breathe. Psst. Keep the wrist going and going for longer. And now you're allowed to breathe and have a rest. Did you manage it? How did you get on? Hope you did. Try it one more time. It's that sense of about sustaining the music through these long, beautiful phrases. Oh, please. We can do it one more time. No singing, just psst. 1, 2, psst. Okay. Oh, please. Just everybody be a bass and just sing that phrase. And now, don't suddenly take loads of dodgy breaths in places you shouldn't need to. So take a nice breath, keep your shoulders down. Think if you're still sat down, then sit with a nice upright back. I'm sat on my sort of swivelly office chair here. If you want to stand, now's a great moment to do it. So here we go. There's your note, or obviously if you're singing an octave higher for the sopranos and altos, sing it at your own pitch, just while we practice this idea. After 3, 1, 2, 3. Oh, Christ soit favorable, ce peuple. Great, well done. That's what you're going to be thinking about to get this sort of sustained through. Let's hear it through to the end, because then we need to look at the other piece too. So this is bar 59. Well, oh sorry, this is bar 63 now. Sopranos come to the top now. Swan. Keep going. That's it. Now there's a crescendo starting. And like the sun comes out here. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Just be really soft through this last passage. After 3, 2, go. Do, 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 do. Do, no S. Do. No, not me. Keep going. Don't you get the most beautiful resonance from the organ to sing along to there? It's a glorious organ. It's one of my favourites to be able to play and really enjoyed the chance to play it in the past. But it sustains the sound. You just got to enjoy sitting on top of that. So just that last phrase, qu'il retourne comble. Don't breathe at the obvious place if you can avoid it. Ne comble, because that's where everyone wants to breathe, but the music needs to keep going. Just as you. If you can just look at the last thing on this before we move on to the other piece for now. Can you look at bar 77 for me? Everybody has got 2 notes slurred together for dawn. Now, okay, I know some of you, of course, will be brilliant at reading music, and others of you will be more keen to read the words and sort of follow the music. Of course, ideally, you can do both, because you get the maximum information off the page. You can see everyone's moving up there. Just look at your own part. Just mention when you sing do, if you're the sopranos, do. Now there's a crescendo, but don't do, do. You've got to think on, and everybody, because everyone's got the same effect. Altos, do. Oh, sorry. Do. My alto voice I haven't used for a while. And then do for the tenors and the do for the basses. Don't reach for the high note. Do. Otherwise it doesn't sound elegant. Do. Let it blossom and flourish so that you invest energy in the bottom note and then it will grow itself. So the notes for that 2 do. Just try those 2 notes. So take a nice deep breath. Ready, go. Do. One more time. Oh, sorry. And 1, go. Do. So now let's just sing let's go, just so that we had the chance to actually sing it. Join in and sing from bar 75, halfway along. Altos, tenors, basses. A is not et, it's A, and then the sopranos 1 beat later. A, A, and 1, 2, A, do, te, do, qu'il retourne. Oh, you've got a whole load of long notes. 1, 2, go. Do, te, do. One, 2. I'm sorry, okay, let's try that again because I'm trying to play too many things. Let's try it from the top of the page. It goes, or bar 84. And qu'il retourne. Keep it going. Great. Really well done. Hope you've enjoyed singing that piece. So let's have a look about the the next piece, the God of all creation one. So this is how nice that there is this connection part of them both being competition winners. Oh dear, so saying things about vaccination, not sure when you're going to get organisations wherever you are, Jill, and others. So in the lucky, gosh, we've been very fortunate how the vaccination things are going. My wife is a GP, and so is been deeply involved with things to do with COVID. Not a great time to be a doctor at the moment, I don't think. So I feel for her when she heads off to work on a Monday morning. She's really missing the chance to see patients face to face, actually, because she says it's much better working face to face with patients than over a call centre, which is how she's currently doing it. So look, let me just cue up the other piece to play, and we'll have a look at this God of all creation piece. And here we go. Bear with me. I'm so sorry. I've got to click. So this is a piece that is based on a sort of slightly it's based on the sort of builds on that Stanford and Parry tradition. If you've ever studied any Stanford or Parry, of course, both of those composers wrote all sorts of music, but quite a bit for the church, and it kind of builds on that solid, comfortable feeling. And then does something quite different in the middle. Chris and I couldn't work out how to exactly play the. Chris has done us a little video about it, and I need to find out how to make that work so that I can share a video on this platform that we're doing this broadcasting with. But he was keen to write something that made sense as a piece and came back to something familiar. So again, actually it ties it very, very nicely with the Foray as a partner piece. He's now one of the stipulations for this competition was that it was written in only 3 parts. So if you're a tenor or a bass, you've got to both just sing the parts that are labelled men. Now, of course, often in church music this happens where you end up then the tenor's reading into bass clef. I'm sorry if that's not so familiar with some of you. But I'm sure we'll learn the music anyway. We've got our tenors rehearsal on, I think tenors are Thursday, aren't they? To be able to look at how it works. So it's well, I think it's a grand piece, and it's not that difficult, though. Of course, I appreciate it's unfamiliar. Someone's saying, yes, send us a link to the video. That's the answer. We'll do that so that you can that I will. Get a chat feed ready thing for that tomorrow, so that we can do that, so that we can make it so that everyone can have a look. It's only a short conversation with our magazine's editor Stefan and Chris. He's such a nice guy. So this piece, let's make sure that we enjoy the sort of the shape of learning something new. And someone saying that. So what will happen to virtual choirs, by the way, when we get back to virtual? I think they won't completely go away, do you? Because I think it's actually, we can do so much to learn as well as meeting face to face. Let's have a look at the beginning of this first section of this piece. If you want to sing along, you go for it. If you just want to listen and just get the measure of it for now, fine. Here we go from the beginning. I'll sort of do a bit of conducting along. After 2 beats, 1, God of creation, from the church in liberty and song. 2 beats off. Has born faithful witness through the centuries. Big climax here for the sopranos. Pulls back. Isn't it really rich, sonorous piece? And it's a piece that you can just enjoy making a good old noise with. Now, one thing to watch out for, Mark's saying, by the way, that thank you, the self-isolationist choir is here to stay, absolutely, and quite right too, because actually it's doing such a good job of pulling so many people together, and what a good thing that is, eh? And look, so when you get to that bar 22, you've got a long note, and this is where, as a singer, it's not just about what you do, it's about what you link with other people. And in this case, you've got to really listen and watch the conductor to get instruments. The pulse is slowing down while you hold a held note. And if you don't really listen to that, you're gonna start coming down a bit too soon. The other thing that I can predict is something we're going to need to work at is at bar 18, just a bit before that, is sopranos have got a dotted rhythm. Faithful witness to the centuries. The other parts move a little bit before you. Just be alert to that. And actually there's some elements about this. You might have noticed at the top of this, there's a dedication to Dr. Richard Shepherd, who was a very, very distinguished musician and died earlier this year. He was for many years connected with York Minster. He was head of the Minster School there. And then subsequently went to work in their sort of development thing, raised millions and millions of pounds for their work. And of course, slightly expensive building, York Minster, to keep the roof on. And so there are some touches of Richard Shepherd in this piece. The link was already to the video in Mark's 6th of May email. Well, there we go. So the thing. So indeed, we are fortunate to be the first large choir ever to record this piece. Well, I say, apart from the little group of singers who did it for us, it's good. Let's do the first bit one more time, and then we'll move on to the next section. So now you've heard roughly how it goes. Do sing along a bit this time. I'm going to still use the accompaniment rather than me playing. God of creation, well done for the church in long note here. Deep breath. Has born faithful witness to the centuries. Has born hold this. So listen here for it. Listen. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Okay. Now, as you go on to the middle section, well done. If you're standing up, you might want to sit down for a bit just to give yourself a break. If you're happy, then absolutely fine today. Now, mysterious this middle bit. So that in us, maybe. And the words, by the way, are written by Canon Gordon Giles, who's one of the clergy at Rochester Cathedral, which were a modified version of a hymn, or is responding to a hymn. And it's because there's a volume the RSCM's about to publish at some point in the next few months, a new little book of choir prayers, because often when a choir lines up for a service, the priest comes and says a prayer with the choir, and this is a book of little prayers that the priest can lead the choir. And so this is one of those texts that was set, so it's a new text as well. So mysterious in this middle bit, that in us may be found a new dimension of sound. Now if you listen, there's some quite you get some quite rich word painting there. He's responding to the text to make show that you're to bring it alive. When you reach bar 38, which is our song, of course, for the sopranos you get a C flat. Not often you get a C flat, and that C flat is there to say da, 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 da. Every time there's an accidental in the notes of the music, it means watch out, something's not what you expect. And then it grows through it all, and bodies to the infinite beauty of your truth. Someone in the chat said they're not very good at rolling their R's. Worth true. If you want to roll your R's, great. Let's have a look at that middle section then. So we're picking it up, the organ's roaring away at bar 25-ish, and then it diminuendos down. So it's softer now. So this is coming into the sopranos and altos, bit steadier, and 1. Long note there for the 2. Okay, this goes through. This is such a beautiful phrase. Such an expressive phrase, I think that. And then you finish with a big finish of which tunes are souls and bodies, which takes you very, very neatly back. The music comes back to the opening section. Con spirito, with spirit, with energy, and then this lovely, clever reprise, and then what I think is called a big finish. And the profound big finish, glory of your eternal, and then it goes back into tempo. Light, and then a big molto ral at the end. Now, actually, it's well written because, of course, the sopranos at the very end, Amen, it's a perfectly comfortable E flat. He lets the organ go up to a top G, so you get the kind of the brilliance of the E flat chord without sopranos having to go on the last note for a long time. So we're going to pick it up and sing and sort of follow and or sing through to the end. Oh, someone's got Bourges as their home cathedral. How lovely. Wow. Page... No, we're going with bar numbers, aren't we? Bar 45-ish. Let's see where it picks up. Let's hear the ending here. Here we go. This is 45 now. Which tunes are souls and bodies. 4 beats. And 2. Keep going. Big deep breath. Sorry, I brought it off slightly earlier, of course. So it's really hard when it's not when you're following, not leading. Amen. So nice, rich, round sound. And just remember, Amen is one word, not two. Amen. Doesn't matter how long it is. Never breathe in the middle of the word Amen. And no, the chat said it is this piece that we are definitely recording because this is the one that nobody's ever done it before. We need the recording for this Music Sunday service, and we'll be able to use it for other things too. So we're just about out of time. If anyone's got any questions, do put it in the chat. So tomorrow it's the basis. If you want to come along as one of the other voice parts, anyway, look, you're always very welcome. It'd be lovely to have you with us. I've just really enjoyed my last hour. Thank you so much for your participation, and thank you for your part that you'll play in bringing this piece to life, and the foray too. So tomorrow there is a focus on the basses. Wednesday is a focus on the soprano parts. Thursday is the tenors. Friday it's the altos, and on Saturday we will be putting it all back together. Someone's got it says silly work meetings. We have to catch up later. Sorry that you don't. Yeah, so we've all got that. So the if you want to have to practice your parts, that's great. We'll look at the detail tomorrow about particularly the French pronunciation and some details around this the corners of this God of all creation piece. So just to finish for today, what I think we ought to finish by actually singing something. It does sound glorious. So yeah, I think we should just. I'm just going to the big finish, and I turned the organ down slightly, the recording, because it got a bit boisterous in my headphones here. I had it turned up too high yesterday and nearly blew my head off. Fortunately, it's still attached. So let's carry on. And here's the very ending. Let's just sing along, sing it out, sing it with joy. You know, it's you've got to sing this piece with a bit of a smile, I think. Back up the time a bit more, so. Okay. Sorry. So this is now. I found where I am. So I need some time guides on this. Bar 53, which is the back page of my copy. And the profound glory. We're going to go for a big finish. Lovely to see you all. Some nice comments. It's lovely to. So many people. I can't read them fast enough. Thank you. It's nice music, isn't it? Lovely to sing this together. I'm having a lovely chance. I haven't been able to go out and do, as I said, all of this on the road music making that I used to do. And actually, this is a lovely way of doing it. So I'm having a very nice Monday. And this, like, the sun has now come out after the appalling rain a few minutes ago. It literally is now sunny out here. So let's sing with a bit of sunshine to finish this rehearsal. Here we go. Keep singing right through. 1, 2, 3, 4. Deep breath and hold it. Relax. And on that happy note and a joyous note, I'm going to bid you adieu for today. Look forward to seeing you later in the week. Look forward to seeing you on Saturday. And thanks very much for joining you. I'm going to go and find now Ben's enjoyed his lunch and is doing another rehearsal. I'm about to lead a webinar and chair that. So I will go and find my lunch quickly before I have to meet the participants in the green room. Thanks very much. See you again. Have a good rest of your Monday. Bye-bye, everyone.